I know things adults think I shouldn't. There's definitely things that I knew that like my parents didn't think I knew for sure.
I compare myself to people I see online.
Mm, okay, hold
I
on.
used to always compare myself to people that are going out every day. I used to be addicted to social media, so I used to like scroll and see people's Instagram stories everywhere all the time. And they had such a healthy lifestyle, and I felt like I was like lacking and falling behind of them, like a little short of what they were trying to achieve. They probably did more things than me this summer, if I'm honest. So just to see that everyone going to different places was kind of like, oh, am I not doing enough to compare to them, or am I not going to enough places that they are, or are they, spending more money than me? It was kind of difficult.
I agree with her a lot because I would see my
Okay.
friends go to Hawaii or South Korea, then go immediately to Japan. And I was so jealous of them and I was so angry at my parents. And I would always blame my parents or myself. I'd be like, why can't I get my own money? Why can't I do any of this? Why can't
Okay.
my parents gain money in order to support me like this? But then through that, it was really unhealthy and that kind of made me have like a hate relationship to both me and my parents. When I saw all my friends doing this, I had like this really bad comparison where I was like, why was I born in such a, I wouldn't say poor, but non-wealthy household? Why can't I just be born in like how my friends were born, how they got this money?
Honestly,
I agree with her. Listen, when it comes to comparing yourself online, it's a lot harder to not compare yourself to people online nowadays, especially with the internet being such so big and so popular, and uh all these people you see online doing all these things that you wish you could be doing. And listen, like it's so hard to not compare yourself online because the world is moving in such a internet culture focused society that it's hard not to. So
I want to say that I compare myself a lot to people who like fitness people. It's really cool how they look, and right now, whenever I try to work out, I have a slow metabolism. So when I eat, it's like pushing so much harder compared to me working out. So it's been a journey for me to get to the weight that I am right now and how fit I am right now.
I agree with that a lot. Like on the internet, especially like TikTok or something, or like when you Google someone, like they're typically like not like they don't have like pimples or they're not like really bigger size. I mean, I used to weigh like 30 pounds more, and now I'm as thin as I am now because I was extremely jealous of like people that were thin, and it came to a point where like I was starving myself and things like that. Sometimes like I didn't eat for like an entire like 3-day period, and it was a really bad place because I just thought that if I was thinner, then people would like me more or I would be more attractive. I genuinely think that I
oof.
should be prettier and prettier, and even though I know in my gut that it's not true, I just can't change the way that I think, and I keep thinking that if I get thinner and thinner, like even though I know I'm thin right now, I still want to lose like 30 more pounds, even though it's so unrealistic. But I just see like all these like child actors or teen actors in Hollywood, and I see how attractive they are and the edits that they get of themselves. I'm like, why can't that be me? Like, I think what I tell myself is that that could never be me, and that no matter how hard I try, I'll never get that. And I know it's not true, but I can't change the way I actually think.
So I firmly believe that comparison is the thief of joys.
100%, 100%. Is whoever this kid is spitting right now.
So I understand, how you can get motivated by fitness influencers, for example, and how they set an example for yourself. But I feel like really believing everything you see online about people's appearances or what people do, right, really leads to some expectations that might be unhealthy and that you might not always want to follow. The more that you start to know that everything that you see online isn't true, is like the time that you can start being confident in yourself. And I think really just seeing how beautiful you are from the inside, and how you have a lot of things that the people you see online don't have, it could be really beneficial.
As to sum everything up, listen, the kid is right. The comparison is the thief of joy, okay? Don't compare yourself to people. Listen, and it's so easy to compare yourself to, like that girl was saying about, she saw all these other people in other countries and she wasn't in other countries and she wanted to be. That's okay. Um you will get there. Like, just strive for that life, build and build and build until you get that opportunity to be able to do that yourself. They're traveling, yeah, but they're doing so much stuff behind the scenes and in the background that people never see. You just see the fun side of things. You don't get to see the grind. With the way it is now, it's so, being lazy is easy. It is so easy to sit down and do nothing. It is so easy to not go to the gym. It is so easy to eat that cheeseburger instead of a piece of chicken and rice. You don't have to do those things, but it's so much easier to be lazy than it is to be active and get up and do things. I know everything I'm saying is super easy to say. Doing it's the hard part. But if anybody out there is struggling, just keep going. Just keep going. You got this.
Get angry for reasons I don't understand.
I somewhat agree. I think usually I know what I'm angry about. I usually feel like this is what I'm angry about. But then sometimes I'm so angry about the smallest thing, and I'm like, there's something else happening, and I don't really know what it is.
If I get like really mad to the point where I'm like, let me not be in an area where things are fragile, I'll walk outside and then I'll talk to myself about what I've done, like what made me mad, and then by the time I've like blew off some steam, I'll come back and then I'll usually just get back to what I'm doing.
I definitely had to learn to identify my emotions. I remember you used to having like big arguments with my mom and stuff, and I used to try to communicate, have a conversation after that argument just to get my feelings out. I think that the result of me not being able to identify my feelings caused for me not to be able to identify other people's feelings. I think that I was kind of bad at communicating with people before. So yeah, I learned to kind of explain why I'm feeling this way. I learned to even reflect back on myself why I'm doing these things or feeling this way, or why I even take action on my feelings. I had to, kind of come back to reality and kind of keep myself in composure.
Sometimes like I get in an argument with my friends, like you said, over like nothing, like I don't know what movie is better or whatever, and I'm like, no, you're wrong, I'm right, thinking like I'm always right, and then like for the rest of the day I'm like just so mad, and like you said, you're like ignoring them and like holding in a grudge or something. Like, what am I mad over? Like, this is so not important compared to other things.
I can see, I'll somewhat agree, because there are times when I know exactly why I'm angry. I know exactly what just set me off. But other times, like, I get upset about something and I'm just upset, but it does build and build and build to a point which I am angry. But then I'm angry because I'm like, why does this make me so angry? Why is this affecting me to the point that it is? Okay, I've had to grow up faster than I wanted to. Man, this one.
I've had to grow up faster than I've wanted to.
Okay, so I think that being on social media, I had unlimited social media access. So I used to be on social media all the time, and I also used to have a weird environment where I used to make friends that were a little bit older than me. So I kind of had to learn to, mature faster, because I thought that they were the example leading. Like, I had to be as calm, and I had to, keep my emotions down as much as they did, as much as they were mature, because I feel like it was the cool, normal thing to do. I think when I was a kid, like, there was one experience, for instance, that I had an older brother who I thought was way cooler than me, and he used to do all these type of things that was so new to me. He used to always try to like talk to everyone he knew, and he always tried to like just engage with everything.
I always think that like, why am I already 14? I haven't done as much things as I wanted to do in my life. I like really rushed my life into being more mature, and now I look back, like, why wasn't I just a kid? Why did I care about like things that like were like didn't really matter until now?
I feel like I've grown up really fast. Like I barely remember like last year, and then the year before that. It's like I feel like after 2 months go by, I forget whatever I did 2 months ago. It's like I feel like memory is like fading. Not memory is fading, but like I feel like time is moving.
I feel like every time I look at like a version of myself last year or like a few years ago, I feel like whether it's like intellectually, socially, or even emotionally, there's something that I've grown on, and there's something that I've improved on. And I feel like I've had enough time when I was younger, you know, to experience being a kid in the traditional sense, right? You know, going outside to play with friends and things like that. And I feel like now, as I'm a teenager, I think it's an appropriate time to learn about different perspectives mostly, and how to, you know, positively interact with those perspectives.
I've had to grow up faster than I wanted to. I feel like I did too. Definitely different time periods though. Growing up now, I don't know what I would do or where I would be at. So early on for me, I guess the thing that like really made me grow up and really pushed me to grow up quicker than I probably should have was learning finances. I got told that I have a lifelong disability, physical disability, in which really affects my mobility and my movement. Um, and I was told that I'd be in a wheelchair by the time that I hit my senior year, and thankfully I wasn't. But with that, when I was about 12 years old, I was getting Social Security benefits, and off of that, we didn't live in the most financially stable household. So even though I was getting money when I was 12 years old, it wasn't a lot of money, but it was still substantial. I would get that check, I would cash it, and then I would give it to my mom. Because I knew that having a roof over my head, having lights, and having food in the house was way more important than any clothes that I wanted to buy. I knew that my finances would be better if they helped my mom pay the bills. So that kind of matured me rather quickly. I grew up in a sense where I learned the importance and value of money a lot quicker than I feel like either my brothers did or the kids around me did. And that's just one example of it. My body changes have affected how I feel about myself.
One of my main things that has definitely made me feel like a different way about myself is my height. I like to say I'm pretty tall for my age. I'm 14 and I'm about like 6 foot. Honestly, I want to say that like my height has definitely been useful. Definitely been a lot of usefulness. And another thing about my body that has definitely changed who I am is my voice. 2-3 years ago, I couldn't really like call people unless I knew them, because a lot of the time they would hear my voice and they would think like, is he a girl? Or stuff like that, because my voice was like very high pitched. But over time I started to mature out of that.
Back then, did you feel like, no, why isn't my voice deeper? Why am I not taller?
When I was around 12 to 11, I would always be asking people like, how do you have your voice deeper? And they would all tell me the same thing. It would be like some unk, and they would always be like, it's gonna happen in time. You don't worry about it. But it was like, I actually kind of really wanted to know like how to get your voice deeper. So I started like practicing on my voice, and I'll try to go like see as low as I possibly can, and then I would like do voice exercises at first. So whenever I would talk to people, right, that I wouldn't really know, I would always have to like force my voice a little bit.
Yeah, I want to add on to that. So I was just reading an article like yesterday about something called like the spotlight effect, where you basically think because of some like unhealthy change and whatever characteristic you value, you know, other people are going to kind of zone in on that when they like meet you, right? But really it's untrue. You always think that you're going to be in the spotlight, right? It's again human tendency, but in reality, like 99% of the time, people are not going to notice what you're afraid of them noticing, right? But I will say, like, if I do notice, from my personal experience, I do like notice an unhealthy change in my weight, for my personal health, for my well-being, you know, I do take steps to prevent that change, whether it's like working out more, whether it's changing my diet a little bit. So to answer like the original question, I feel like I like to be aware of what's going on in my body, whether it's me growing taller, whether it's my voice deepening, whether it's, you know, putting on or losing a few extra pounds. I think it's like really important to be aware of those changes that are going on, and like kind of embrace those changes. And, you know, if you do want something to change for your own health, then yeah, make those changes, right?
Some things that I really had to work on, like for my physical appearance, I worked on my stomach a lot. Say if I ever went to like a pool, it was like a phrase, and it was called like like man boobs. I don't know if you ever heard of that, but it's like a phrase. Yeah, and then I had a little bit of that, and then I didn't really like that at all. So I worked on myself a lot, and I fixed it now. But I feel like it's just like once you really want it, and like you gotta change it.
I don't think my body changing over the past few years has affected how I feel about myself. I don't know if that's it just doesn't make me feel, or if I'm not letting it change the way I feel about myself. But I don't think my body changing really affects how I feel about myself at all. I think what makes me change how I feel about myself is the things that happen to me and the actions that I do in the world. This may sound funny, but I don't really think, I don't picture myself at all. I just associate myself with the things that I see around me. I don't picture myself, but I normally just feel pretty positive about myself.
For me, when I was younger, I used to be obviously much more skinnier. Now that I look at myself, I'm like, man, I have to eat this. I have to buy these pills. I have to do all of this to go back to my original weight. But the reason why I'm in the somewhat is because obviously you're gonna change when you get older. You're gonna look different. You're gonna get taller, whatever. But that's why I'm kind of in the somewhat.
What is your greatest hope in life?
Body changes have affected how I feel about myself. And like I said, I could speak for hours, but I was diagnosed with something when I was 12, which it affects my feet and my legs pretty heavily. I would say probably about the time after I had surgery on both my feet is when I noticed the biggest change, because beforehand, I was pretty skinny. I was about 185. I was in the gym every day. I wasn't necessarily 100% confident in my appearance, but I felt pretty good about myself. After the surgery, I was incapable of running. I was incapable of jumping, and I was incapable of moving my toes or moving my foot just at all. My foot barely goes up and down, and my foot doesn't go left and right because they fused my ankles. So my mobility was heavily impaired at that time. And then I started to gain weight. So I started gaining weight, and then about a few years after high school I had that. Then a few years after those surgeries, I had heart surgery. And then after my heart surgery, I put on even more weight. So now I'm the biggest weight that I've ever been. But I lost confidence after having those surgeries, after gaining weight. It's only here recently that I've been more confident. But within that time, from the time that after my surgeries till about 4 to 3 years ago, I was in a pretty tough stage. I was in a pretty dark place in my life, I'm gonna be honest, because I had reconstructive surgery on both my feet. I had heart surgery. I had gained a lot of weight. I just wasn't in a good place in my head. But things changed over these past few years, and I'm in such a better spot than I was. So this one, what is your greatest hope in life?
My greatest hope in life is to be that type of person that you can talk to. I just want to be the best version of myself when I grow older.
Because I want to be a psychologist when I'm older, so I really wanted to understand everyone else, but I didn't want to understand them in the way of a biased lens of myself. So it's one step for me to be able to regulate my emotions, but if I do it even better, I'll be better to understand other people's.
I want to become a filmmaker. I want to be a director or writer of movies. But I also hope that I can be the best person I am with my time on Earth.
My greatest hope for myself is for me to be in a period of my life where I am healthy, I am mentally strong, I have good people around me, and a period of my life where financially I would be a little bit more secured.
If you have a goal, right? If you have a criticism, if you have something that you want to improve on, it's kind of hard to make that jump, even as easy as it seems it could be. And I think today and through all of our conversations, I realized some small, simple problems to me might not be as simple to others. And I think acknowledging that might be the case really helped me gain more perspective and insight into how I myself can help my own habits and how I can help others with their own habits.
I just want people to respect me and validate me. I know it's not a realistic goal at all, but just for me to like be comfortable around people.
My greatest hope in life would be if I could take care of the ones I love and find true happiness. If I could do those two things, I don't know, man. That's a really hard question. I just hope that I can be the best version of myself by the time it's all said and done. I hope I can be the one to take care of the people around me, and I hope that I'm a good person to those around me.
What if you never had to compare yourself to anyone ever again?
That's tough. What if I never had to compare myself to anyone ever again? They say comparison is the thief of joy. But I think if you meet somebody for the first time and they're a great person, you're like, oh man, I really hope I'm like them someday. Or like, I really hope that I can travel to that place someday. Or I really hope that I reach my fitness goals one day. I think comparing yourself seldomly as compared to comparing yourself all the time is a lot healthier way of comparison. But I think comparison's like a double-edged sword.